Hello, happy that you're here. I have some interesting things to talk about today. And I do want to say thank you so much. There's a lot of really nice comments coming in. I do appreciate that so much. And the questions are really good. I do try to answer them as best I can. Some of them are a little detailed, but I want you to be sure to understand what I'm trying to say. I don't want to be talking over anybody's head or making it confusing. So if you have questions about what I'm talking about or about therapy that I'm doing or the exercises that Diane and I are doing, please be sure to ask that in a comment and I'll get back with you as soon as I can on that topic. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about the things that are happening on the two different timelines, because it's obvious that there's some things going on, and some people feel very strong in one direction and some people feel very strong in another direction. And it seems as though there's people that are beginning to question maybe where they are or what path they were on, and wondering about not seeing where they really want to go with that path. And then there's others who are really frustrated because it feels like there's a bunch of sand being tossed on their head everywhere they go. So I thought I would talk to you about the two different timelines and how serious that is, that we start to look at what we want as a collective, as a human race, as mankind, as the way that we are here to live, which is in a free society, a free planet, a free will planet as well. So with that, I'm going to have you just sit back and just let your mind hear this and draw little pictures in your head if you can, but I want you to see a distinction here on the two different paths. One path is where there's a machine that's in control of you. It's a system. It's the system that we've been living in for a long time. And that system just keeps consuming and consuming and consuming. And now we're at a point where the system has gotten so big and so dangerous that it is going to be consuming humanity just by being the machine, the system that it is. To get people to agree to be part of the system or part of this machine is they have to play a lot of tricks on you, because if you realize what's really going on, you probably won't want to go in that direction. So the way that they do that is using fear. They use fear to get you in a hypnotic kind of a state where you can't function physiologically the way you should, because there's stress and there's fear, and those hypnotic suggestions can go into your mind and you'll begin to follow along and be told what to do, and you're not going to really have much say-so in your own life, because the spirit of fear is so strong that it's going to hold you into this pattern where you're going to be walking into more and more of the machine's demands. You will begin to comply on every level without question. And in the end, as you look down the road of that, you will be chipped, you'll be totally controlled, you'll be totally managed. If you speak the wrong words, you'll be punished. And if you are really honest about things, that is already beginning to happen. So we have a pretty good foothold in our society right now, particularly in America, but it's other places too, where this beast monster system is working very hard to corral as many humans as possible, and then those that don't wish to walk into the corral, they will find another way to dispose of them. That's just the way it goes in these kind of systems, and we have seen it throughout history in many different countries, although we haven't seen it worldwide, which it is moving towards now. So the other path that is offered is a path where we're not going to comply, where we're going to make a choice, that we're going to agree with one another, that we're going to not cause harm to one another, that we're going to grow and learn and gain knowledge and understanding, that we're going to be able to think for ourselves and process for ourselves, where we work together in a system without somebody telling us what to do or where to go or what time we have to roll our wheelie barrels out there for garbage and all of this. We don't have to do that. We just know that there's a set of rules that we agree to that will maintain a civil society where people aren't allowed to cause harm to one another. And if they do, then there is a punishment or a reprimand for that kind of behavior, causing harm to a person's body or their property. And continue in that direction will come with a swift correction. If we want to live in a peaceful society, we cannot have an overlord telling us what to do, because we don't like to be told what to do. Even if some of you are being told what to do and you're doing it, you're not doing it with a happy heart. You're doing it because you're afraid of what will happen when you don't do it. So what's happening now is this world is heading on these two directions. Of course, the good side is going to win regardless, because that's just what's going to happen. But let's really look at what's happening, because we have to all make our own choices. You can choose to go in the way where you want to have somebody overlording you. You can go that direction if you want to. Nobody's going to say anything about it. It is your path, but I would strongly suggest that you want to learn about what that path is about and where it will take you. Don't be caught by surprise, because if you go so far down that path, you're not going to be able to turn around and get out. Then there's the other path that people are moving on to more and more, where we are really getting along with one another. We're going to become more entrepreneurial. We're going to find what we love to do in life, and we're going to move on. And that will be an evolutionary step from where we were. Freedom in a free society does not mean that we are supposed to work hard and then give our money away to a government that tricks us into putting people in control over us who are supposed to work for our best interest and only take money from us and decide that they want to spend it on their own little pet projects, which is containing humanity. It's a lot to think about. It's kind of scary for some of you to think about, perhaps, and it's also something that maybe people just don't understand yet. But all in all, we're at a point of choice here. And those of us who see it clearly, once you see it, you can never unsee it. So for those of us that are seeing it clearly, or we're beginning to see it clearly, it's up to us to begin to stop complying where we can. And it's a very scary thing to do that, because they have a lot of thuggery behind them, a lot of meanness, a lot of canceling you out if you're not going to comply with the machine. But the only way that this can stop is if we stop complying and we recognize what we're doing, and we do it in numbers, because mankind outnumbers these control freaks, which they're really psychopathic. They're actually interspecies predators, and they're criminals. And we've given up a lot to these people, and it's time to stop that. And the only way we can do that is to begin to introspect. So let's begin to introspect and find the peace in our heart and ask for the understanding and the wisdom of what's really going on and where we're going if we continue to comply to all of these rules. So that's pretty much what I want to say. And I do want to say that I'm just as freaked out about not complying to certain things as well, especially when it comes to going shopping. And I push myself to the very edge and just, have a little veil that I kind of pull up and down. But that's not good enough. I need to totally get away from that and just be bold. And if they don't want to let me in, then I just don't go there. But that's a hard choice. But 1 and 2 people can't do this. It's going to take a lot. If we all go there and to a shopping and we just say no, and we understand the reason why, because that's also another thing, that when we live in the lie, when we believe the lie that we're told, we actually think that we're protecting each other. When we put the face diaper on, the compliant muzzle, when we put that on, we're thinking that we're being safe and we're being responsible and we're doing all this, but we're not. We're actually being used as a fool. We're being fooled, we're being tricked, and we're actually causing a lot of harm for ourselves. There's absolutely no valid science about these face covers because they're all different weave sizes, and it's already been proven that those different weave sizes don't keep out what they're looking for. The second thing is that the cycles of how they test for this issue is cycled many times. So what they're finding in it is just such small particles that it's another big fear tactic. It's another big lie for you to suck into their narrative. So I have to work on this being a little more bold. I'm bold in some areas about not complying, but this one is more difficult. So I would just urge all of you to go inside and really ask yourself, what kind of a world do you want? If these face coverings are really causing you more harm, then they're going to use that as a second wave. And it's not really going to be a second wave of what they're telling you. This is why it's really important to listen to other people's opinions, to listen to people who have been censored, find them on different platforms, and listen to the real science behind all of this. Because science is being thrown out there like it's the end-all be-all, but most of the people that are saying we have to believe the science aren't believing anything that's scientific. So I don't want to go on too much longer because this is a pretty big topic, but I did want to get this out to you to start to think about what it means to be free. So if you start to look inside and find those scary parts inside of you where you're being blocked to being bold and courageous and standing on your own 2 feet and thinking for yourself, as you begin to work on that and find people that can help you with that, what's going to happen is you're going to reflect something different out into the world. And as more and more people begin to do that and stop complying, what happens is we stop feeding the beast. We stop feeding the system. We stop letting them push and push and push because they're never going to get enough. It's just about consumption of humanity on every level possible. And it's going to be done in the same way over and over and over, with lies, with stories, with fear, with all kinds of things, just so they can make their own narrative and make you believe this fairy tale. So with that, I just want to say thank you. Please ask me some questions in the comments if you have any questions about this. I'm very passionate about everybody beginning to think for themselves, because I really do know that that's going to be a really fun world to live in, because we'll be so easy with each other and we'll be so kind and generous with each other. So let's get a new focus. Although if you do want to go down the path of compliance, you have that free will, and I hope you enjoy the ride. So with that, thank you so much. Thanks for viewing, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And I think there's a little bell up there that you can hit that you'll get a notification every time we post. So if you want to, you can hit that too. But thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it.